All right, so this is super exciting e-collar training, but first, here's Nakita enjoying a treat. All right, now we're gonna get into the e-collar training. So this was the day it was really, really, really hot. I think it was like sometime last week. It was definitely hot outside, so I didn't take any dogs outside because the pavement would just be too crazy and hurt their paws. So I was like, perfect time to try the e-collar with her. So what I'm doing in this first block is exactly what you'll see for Tyler Muto's course, as well as the other dog that I worked on the e-collar. The video is in the is on the channel. So I first did just guiding her there with the leash over and over and over again and rewarding when she was on the place, loading up the word place for her. So you can use here, go, you can use spaghetti and meatballs, whatever you want to use to mean go to this spot, the dog will associate it. So I start that with the leash. And then once she gets pretty good at that, I start to use the e-collar and layer that in. So again, like you've observed with Tyler's course, is you start really, really low. The tricky thing in these first few segments is really finding where the dog feels and responds to something. So you'll see over the next few passes, she becomes much more quick and efficient at it. Like right there, she's starting to understand what's going on. And then I left the audio in the next part so you can hear when I give the cue and what happens. Okay, I think she was working on like a level 3. Good. Okay. Oh. Please. Yes. Good girl. So at this point, I've started to use the collar when she's distracted or looking away, paired with the word. So each time I'll say place and then give a continuous stim, which I'll show you what that means. And she starts to pick it up and you'll see the efficiency there. So notice I don't have my hands on the leash. I'm not using the leash. I'm simply using verbal as well as the pressure from the e-collar to communicate with her. So she's getting it pretty quick. So I start to switch things up and use it for recall. So at one point she's on the place or on the mat and I start to call her to me. So she also, you know, gets very lazy at times during training. And I do let her take those breaks because I mean, look at her. Okay, so anyway, back to the recall stuff. So when she is at the place that I've placed her, I'll call her here. And now that I've kind of conditioned her that the e-collar is like a prompt to do something, she knows the hand target pretty well. So when she sees that and then she gets that extra like gumption from the e-collar, she's like, oh, okay, come to you. So I start it very easy where she's looking at me, she's simply waiting in one spot. And then you'll see me start to layer it up just like I was doing with the place command, where I have her distracted and then call her to me. So at one point I like start like hiding cookies, or I think I like threw it under the treadmill or something, and she was looking also. So in the next few segments, you'll be able to see the light on the e-collar. So every once in a while you'll see when I'm using it, it'll light up. It's on the, when she's looking right at me, it's the right side, and you'll see kind of like the glow either on her fur or from the collar itself. So right there was where I called her away from the treadmill. So like here again, I tell her here when she's looking away, and you saw that just like boom, easy turnaround. So at this point she's on to me. And so when I call her, she's like, all right, I know what to do. And she she pairs it with place. Like she's like even one step ahead of me. So I called her to me, and then she went to place and laid down. So we were at a pretty good place to lay her up and make things harder. So now I wanted to see how she would start to incorporate all of this information, and we could use it to get the sit to be a little bit more efficient. So I want you to check that out. Here. Sit. Yes, good girl. Sit. So how I've started to use it now with sit is something that she knows and should be efficient at. So I give the cue sit, then almost immediately after I'll give the pressure from the collar. So you'll be able to see the light a little bit more in these next few. But in theory, it's supposed to have the dog anticipate. She says sit, I should sit, otherwise this sensation happens. So that's kind of the idea I'm trying to get across to her. Sit. Yes, good girl. Sit. Good. Yes, good girl. Yeah. So this next part coming up is a really good example of when we want to use our collar and when we don't want to use our collar. I mean, we definitely could in the next part coming up, but with her, I really want to get the underlying foundation and understanding down first, and then layer up into situations like this. So this is a situation where there's going to be a lot of people coming in and out of the lobby. She's doing well. She's sitting with me now. She is not reacting. Sometimes she will let out a little bark. So what I do is I just put the remote away, and what I want to work on is just the reactivity itself and understanding. So there's me putting the remote away, and now I'm rewarding for when she looks at me. So you'll notice she's looking over, there's the other dog that goes by, and she goes to check in back with me, like, hey, what should I do about this? And that's when I reward her. So we don't want to use the collar as like a corrective device at this time with a dog like Nakita. We want to first have understanding of like what the sensation means, because we don't want to ruin it for helping her get her cues be more efficient and like right on the mark. We want it to be a really, really positive thing. So there's a couple dogs that come in and out, and she tolerates them all very well. I just kind of have her walk back and forth. She's looking at them. She's interested, but she is still engaged with me. At no time does she start to respond and get crazy like she sometimes does. So yeah, I think, and there was in that few minutes, there was a lot of different sizes of dogs. So there was a large dog, there was a medium dog, and then those two little small dogs. So the whole time she stayed pretty engaged and did well. I think she was also really tired at that point. Like you could see when she's walking, she's kind of dragging ass a little bit, but she just did very lovely. So I do a few more drills with her, and then she very clearly tells me she has finished her training for the day. So I was like, all right, girl, you're good. So very effective for her for the sit with the e-collar. I was very surprised. She got it down really quick. So yeah, hopefully next Tuesday she'll be a little bit more awake than she was Thursday. But I do want to continue with this exercise with her and get her coming to us from a greater distance, and then get her outside with the sit, layering up into those scenarios since it's cooling down. So overall, hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me, and I will talk to you soon.